Hey, I'm Willie Minix with the Academy of Renaissance Thinking, and today we're going to do one more video about how to be ambidextrous. In the last video, if you watched it, I showed you how to write in Greek or using Greek letters using your offhand, and how to take it from a big letter that takes up a whole page to where you're reducing it down smaller and smaller and smaller until you get more control with your offhand. In this video, we're going to go over one more technique that I think will help you as you learn to be ambidextrous and write with either hand effectively well, but we're going to stick with that Greek alphabet. So I'm going to adjust my camera. I'll be back with you in just a second. Alright, we're back, and as you can see, we're still working with the material that we did from last time, and we've gone through a lot of the Greek letters that we were going to cover in other videos, or in the previous video, and this time we're going to work on one letter at a time. So what you want to do is you want to get a graph notebook, get yourself a piece of paper that's clean, and then you're going to start on one side of the notebook. Now, the interesting thing about ancient Greek, it eventually, I think, stopped doing this, but I believe it was in Attic Greek. They wrote in, I think it was called ox tread writing, where they would go this way on a page and then come backwards and then go like this. So you can practice that because it's a completely different way than the way that you normally would think. So let's pick a letter that we haven't worked on much yet. So let's try delta. And delta, the capital delta, is just a triangle. So what you might do to help keep you on track is your top point might start in the middle of the grid like this, so that way you can gauge where you're working, and you go, you know, again, I advocate speaking out loud what you're working on. So delta, 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 or delta makes the D sound, you know, or D delta. Whatever helps you memorize, this is the way delta works, okay? And so you're adding a delta every time you get to a new line, and again, eventually your deltas should become much more controlled and clean, and they should look well. And again, we're not really working necessarily on mastering calligraphy here, so don't beat yourself up if it looks a little sloppy. I mean, even with my dominant hand, my writing tends to be a little bit on the sloppy side. But you're going to want to just get the control that you need to where you can write quickly and effectively if you need to. Now we've gotten to this side of the paper, and so we'll do the ox tread writing with the other hand. So now, if you remember the last video, I've worked my left brain by using my right hand. Now I'm going to work my right side of the brain using my left hand. So I go delta, 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 You're just working your brain until you get those sounds stuck in your head, and you're doing, you know, about 20 or so letters across the page. And so what you want to do is continue filling up this page till you've got about 100 letters. Okay, now I am working on a code for later videos where I want to do some cryptography stuff with the people that are with you viewers, and so I'm working on a new code. And one of the things that I have been practicing is I've been practicing some of the letters that are in this code. Okay, so these you've never seen before, you know, this kind of script, but I practice what the sound makes in my head, and then I practice the movements onto a page with this hand, and I say the sound in my head. And I'm not going to say it because if I do a contest or something where I use these sounds. I don't want to you know, tip you off, because it'll ruin the fun of the game. So anyway, so I practice these until they work with one hand, and then I go and work on them with the other hand, and I say the sounds that way too. And so what's happening is I am doubling up on memorizing these characters, even though they're from a totally made up script that I came up with, so that way I can challenge you guys later when I do the cryptography stuff to be working out, you know, some of this stuff. But I do it over and over, and as you can see on this paper with this character, I practiced until I got this character to where I can write it with the left hand, or I can write it equally well with the right hand. Maybe not equally well, but you get the point. So start with a language that you don't know or that you're not familiar with. Maybe you start with Greek. Maybe you are a Tolkien fan and you want to work on his language, or the Dwarven language, or something like that. Or maybe you want to learn Hebrew or Japanese or Chinese or something. Start memorizing the characters left and right, and you're going to double up your brain activity on working on this topic. So God bless you. You have a good day, and we will see you in the next video.